Have you ever looked into a mirror that had a crack in it? Maybe it fell once. Maybe someone threw something at it. But now, instead of one clean reflection, you see pieces. Your face is split into two, your eye is in one place, your mouth is somewhere else. Everything looks distorted. And here's the strange thing. You know the mirror is broken, not you. The crack is causing the distortion. But imagine standing in front of that mirror every single day after day, year after year. Eventually, something dangerous could happen. You could forget that the mirror is broken and start believing you are. It's possible. And I think that's exactly what has happened to many of us. Somewhere along the way, life cracked the mirror. A word was spoken, someone walked away, someone rejected you, someone compared you. You failed at something. You were made to feel like you weren't enough. And slowly, the mirror through which you saw yourself became distorted. And here's the problem. You've been staring at the reflection for so long that you've started calling distortion your identity. How do you do this? You say, I'm not confident, I'm not intelligent, I'm not capable, I'm not just that kind of person. I always mess things up. People like me don't get opportunities like that. But what if some of those things aren't actually who you are? What if they are just cracks in the mirror? Let me give you the first lesson of this series. A distorted reflection does not mean you are a distorted person. You are not necessarily seeing yourself. You may simply be seeing what life has done to the way you see yourself. And that's what we are going to deal with. Now, here's a question. Who cracked your mirror? Think about it. A little child doesn't usually walk around thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, I need to become like that other child before I'm valuable. Watch a 3-year-old. They fall down and get back up. They ask questions without being embarrassed. They try things without worrying about looking stupid. They haven't learned to constantly measure themselves against everybody else. But then life happens. Someone says something and a crack appears. Maybe it was a parent who constantly compared you to someone else. Maybe it was a teacher who made you feel unintelligent. Maybe it was a friend who constantly put you down. Maybe someone you trusted walked away and made you wonder whether you're worth staying for. Maybe you failed at something you desperately want to succeed at. Maybe you were laughed at when you tried. Maybe you were told directly or indirectly you're not enough. And here's the dangerous part. People can speak over your life for 5 minutes and you can spend 5 years trying to prove them wrong. One moment can become a belief. One rejection can become an identity. One failure can become a prophecy. You failed once and suddenly you think, I'm a failure. Someone rejected you and suddenly you think, well, nobody will ever choose me. You struggled with something and suddenly you think, I'm just not capable. Do you see the problem? You took an event and turned it into an identity. That's a crack in the mirror. And sometimes it isn't even one person. It's many things. One piece of the mirror is what your father said, how he insulted you, how he abused you. Another is what your mother said. Another is what your classmates said. Another is what someone you trusted did. Another is that failure you never recovered from. Another is the comparison you've carried for years. And eventually, you're no longer looking into one mirror. You're looking into 100 broken pieces, trying to figure out which one is actually you. No wonder you're confused. Nobody gets a clear picture of themselves by staring into a broken glass. Never. But here's something important. I want you to hear this carefully. Not everything painful that happened to you was your fault. What happened to you doesn't have to become the definition of you. Someone may have spoken wrongly about you. That doesn't make their words true. Someone may have rejected you. That doesn't mean you are unworthy. You may have failed. That doesn't make you a failure. No. You may have made terrible decisions. That doesn't mean your entire identity is terrible. You can acknowledge what happened without allowing it to become who you are. That's maturity. Because healing isn't pretending the cracks never happened. It is learning that cracks don't get the final word. Now let's go back to the mirror. Imagine you have a cracked mirror. What do? You could spend years trying to glue every pieces back together. You could tape it, paint over the cracks, move it around, change the lighting, try to convince yourself it looks fine. But there's a better option. Get a new mirror. And this is where faith becomes important for me. Because if the only mirror I have is the opinion of people, I'm in trouble. People's opinion change, culture changes, relationships change. Even my own emotions change. So I need a reflection that isn't built on people's opinions. For those of us walking this out with faith as our foundation, Scripture gives us that foundation. Genesis tells us that humanity was made in the image of God. That means your deepest identity didn't begin with somebody else's opinion of you. It began with God. Before the criticism, God. Before the comparison, God. Before the rejection, it was God. Before the failure, God. So before anyone told you what you couldn't become, God had already given you value. That's the mirror I want you to start looking into. Not the mirror of your worst moment, not the mirror of somebody else's opinion, not the mirror of your biggest failure, the mirror of what God says about you. So why does this matter? Because the way you see yourself affects the way you live. Think about it. If you believe you are incapable, you will hesitate when opportunity comes. If you believe you are insignificant, you will seek validation. If you believe you are a failure, you will interpret every setback as confirmation. If you believe you're unworthy, you will tolerate things you shouldn't. If you believe you're not enough, you will spend your life trying to become enough for everybody else. Your beliefs about yourself quietly become instructions for your life. That's why identity isn't just some motivational topic. It's practical. Identity affects your decisions, your relationships, your confidence, your courage, your boundaries, your response to failure, your response to success, even your ability to pursue purpose. Because here's the tragedy. Some people aren't living beneath their potential because they lack potential. No, they are living beneath it because they've never learned to see themselves correctly. I've seen gifted people shrink. I've seen intelligent people silence themselves. I've seen capable people avoid opportunities, not because they had nothing to offer, but because somewhere inside them was a broken reflection saying, "Who do you think you are?" And every time they try to step forward, that voice pulled them backward. Maybe you've heard it too. You get an opportunity and something inside says, "Are you sure you can do this?" It has happened to many of us before. You start growing and something says, "Why are you kidding?" You make progress and suddenly you remember everything you've ever done wrong, and you begin to shrink. But listen, you cannot build a big future with a small identity. It's not possible. At some point, the way you see yourself has to catch up with what you're becoming, because your purpose will eventually demand more courage than your broken identity can provide. Here's what makes a broken mirror so dangerous. It doesn't always lie completely. To be honest, let's think about that. Sometimes it shows you something real. It shows you, but it just shows you incompletely. You really did fail. It will show you that you really were rejected. You really did make mistakes. You really were hurt. But the mirror says that's all you are, and that's where it lies. Your past can become a part of your story without becoming the whole story. You made a mistake. That's something you did. It isn't necessarily who you are. You went through rejection just like anybody or just like everybody else. That's something you experienced. It isn't necessarily your identity. You have weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. I have my weakness. You have your weakness. That's part of being human. It doesn't mean you have no strength. The broken mirror takes one piece and calls it the whole picture. Don't ever make that mistake of believing a broken mirror. So, I want you to do something before the next teaching. Don't try to fix yourself yet. Don't start giving yourself motivational speeches. Just be honest. Ask yourself, which pieces of the broken mirror have I mistaken for my whole reflection? What have you been believing about yourself that may have come from somewhere else? Is it something a parent said, something someone did to you, a rejection, a failure, a comparison, a childhood experience, a mistake you still haven't forgiven yourself for? Don't run from the answer. Name it. Be honest with yourself. Name those things. Because sometimes you can't challenge a lie you haven't admitted you believe. And remember this. The fact that you've been looking at a broken mirror or that you've been looking at a broken reflection for years doesn't mean you have to keep looking at it. The mirror can change. The way you see yourself can change, and your life can begin to change with it, because you're not the cracks. You're the person standing behind them. And next time when we meet, next time we're going to go after something even closer, because there's a mirror you can check every single day, and you may not even realize it. It's not hanging on your wall. It's the voice you use when you talk to yourself. And that's where we're going next. The second part of this series, the voice in the mirror. I'll see you there.